Hey, welcome back to Weekly Reading and Writing Update. Reading first, I am kind of speeding right through Jurassic Park. I already knew that I liked it, so I continue to like it. It's been kind of fun rereading that. It's an interesting one in that I don't really remember where I was when I first read that. I think that was really early on that I read that in my kind of reading journey. So I'm thinking like year 1 or 2 of like me reading as a main hobby. So I think it was probably back in like one of my early apartments or something like that. I know that I read it because I really loved the movie. So it's been fun to read it now, having read so much other stuff, a lot of other things that I hadn't read at the time. I think that the thing that I forget about it is it's kind of primarily a thriller horror book. Once the dinosaurs get involved, it gets really, it gets intense. It gets more intense than the movie because it gets so much more descriptive. The movie kind of tries to stay on that PG-13 line, and I would say if it was line for line like the book, it might approach a higher rating. Higher being, a more severe rating. So it's been fun to kind of rediscover that. I found what I think is probably a small connection to Dungeon Crawler Carl, of all things, in that the velociraptors are called Velociraptors mongoisis because they're from China. So if you've read any of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, you know that the chicken raptor thing that Donut has is Mongo. I think that might be a small nod, just kind of a fun little, I think that's cool. I anticipate I will probably be finished with that by the time you're watching this. So I'm filming this now, and then by the time it's edited and on YouTube, I will probably be done with that. I'm very confused about what I want to do next. I think we've got a couple options here. This one, what was my others? So a couple options for next book: Wise Man's Fear by Pat Rothfuss, or the new Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. I picked this up because it was the last one on the shelf at my local bookstore, so I was just kind of like, hey, I want to pick that up. So I'm in between those three. It's going to be one of those. Right now I'm kind of leaning towards Dungeon Crawler Carl because I know that the latest one just came out. Katabasis also just came out, so lots of really great things coming out. And it's kind of funny that I'm rereading something as everything like this is coming out. So I just enjoy rereads. I've kind of got a video in the works on rereading books and how great I think it can be. So kind of look for that coming in the near future. Other books, I am listening to The Poppy War on audiobook. I kept calling it The Poppy Wars because, man, they talk about several different Poppy Wars within the book. It's just kind of a funny thing that, funny naming convention, I suppose. I know that I've read The Poppy War, but I just can't remember. I can't remember any of it. So I think that's a positive because according to my rating, I didn't rate it fantastic. I think I rated it 3 stars. I'm still somewhat early on in it, but I am enjoying it. It's an interesting kind of in-between of, it feels kind of young adult with like not young adult vibes at the same time. So I think it just confuses me a little, but man, it gets such good praise and such high praise. I just really want to give it a good go at it. So I am enjoying that. I'll continue on that. I'm about to have a little bit of a commute, so I'm going to make a lot more progress on that because that's my main audiobook time. After Poppy War, we might get into some nonfiction again. I'm just not sure. I need to go through and see what I had. I think I had a couple books that lapsed. We might have some good nonfiction on the docket or on the agenda. If I don't, then I might just end up kind of continuing Poppy War. It's really going to depend on how I like it this time around. It has been kind of fun to have a little bit more of a fun, lighthearted. I say lighthearted. Poppy War isn't exactly lighthearted, but compared to a nonfiction for me, it feels lighthearted. But a lighthearted audiobook, just kind of something I don't have to feel like I need to learn from. So that's been fun. So that might influence where I go next on audiobooks. Lots of new stuff coming out. You know, it's kind of that October. I know a lot of people are doing, you know, spooky books, stuff like that. I don't typically read spookier books like that. I don't really read anything seasonally either. So I'm curious if there's anything that I'm missing out on that. So let me know. Next we have writing update, and we're getting close to some really big writing updates. So this week we're at 93%. Huge progress in that I have now outlined the last chapters. I've outlined the last book, and I've outlined the last chapters, and I've outlined kind of how I want to finish this thing off. I anticipate the first draft will be done probably in a week or so. And I looked the other day, we're at 127 days for first draft right now. So I think we'll probably come in under 140 days for first draft. That feels like a big accomplishment. I'm very excited about that. The last couple chapters have really shaped how the rest of the book needs to go for me. So there's going to be some pretty heavy edits and rewrites that are going to happen. So it's going to be ready after some pretty heavy edits, but I would anticipate that process is going to take, you know, possibly as long as the first draft did. Regardless, that's been very fun. What I'm doing in this is I'm keeping track of all of my progress. I'm keeping track of how much I wrote each day, how long it took me to do things. Because what I want to do is once I finish that first draft, I'm going to kind of outline the process and say how it went, what I thought worked, what didn't work, the highs and lows, the successes and the failures of it. So I want to outline that and kind of use it as something that hopefully someone can go in and look at what the process looked like for somebody else and hopefully learn from. Once I get through the editing process and really on the weeds of it, I'll be doing the same thing. I'm gonna track the same stuff, the progress each day, all of that. So I'm a bit of a nerd. I'll have all the Excel spreadsheets and the graphs and all that along with that. Kind of be looking forward to that. I think in the next couple weeks we'll have some pretty major updates as far as we'll still have reading update, but then we'll also have kind of writing update that gets into the weeds a little bit more. And then if there's enough there, may just have a full video on how the first draft went. That's an exciting video for me. Looking forward to that. So as far as reading goes, coming up next, I'm still pretty in between, but I'm pretty excited about all the options. I was at the bookstore the other day and they had copies of the new Dungeon Crawler Carl series. So I think I will be starting 5, and then I still need 6 and 7, and that's kind of that's what we have published right now. So very excited for those. I'm getting excited for Katabasis as well, because Poppy War is kind of, it feels like it's a little bit better than I remember. So it might have just been kind of a miss for me at the time, or actually, you know, I want to say I read it on Kindle, and that just kind of, sometimes that throws off a book for me. So audiobook or physical is kind of how I tend to read. And I do want to get to Wise Man's Fear, so I anticipate this will be something that happens this year at some point. So that is it for this week. Thanks so much for stopping by. We'll see you in the next one. Bye. Weekly reading, writing progress update. That was a weird way to say that.